T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, turkey sandwich, T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, turkey sandwich, testing, sound check, Ollie oxen free, LA, are you there? LA, are you there? Ollie oxen free. Ah, present. I am here. I can hear her, which is me. Alright. Sound check is superb. Ah, superb. Thinking of superb, I instantly thought of the frozen pies. I think there was a line of pies that came in a black box called Supreme Pies. I wanted to say it was brought to you by Kroger's a long time ago. Like Kroger's from Al Kessel's. Like Kessel's was Kessel's before it was Kroger's, right? So it was a turkey man. I don't want to say turkey man, but it was a man, and he was shaped like a turkey, and he was like, "Hi, I'm Al Kessel's, and you can get holiday Thanksgiving turkeys for 99 cents a pound." He'll throw the food across the aisle, you know, stuff like that. So around that time, probably the early 80s, early 80s, you know, late 90s, there was Kroger's, and I think they had these wonderful pies that came in black boxes called Supreme Pies. Man, they were so good at that time. I think those pies cost like $5.79 or $5.97, and that was in the early 90s. So if a pie back then cost 5 something in the frozen food section, that was a lot of money. I think we got to have that at least 2 times in our lives, but it was worth it. So yeah, my audio was set. I'm glad I have some time to get this stuff done for those of you who are coming in. This is what I do in the morning, do my sound check, audio check. I am looking, where is my tea? Right here. The tea is teaing. I hope it's not too hot. Sometimes I have a tendency to make it too hot. Oh boy. Ooh, it's all right. It's all right. Little sips. I've been up for a little minute, and my voice is still raspy, so thank goodness for my tea. My husband's like, you know, you should get you some tea when you go live. I'm like, you know what, that's right. You know, instead of reaching for coffee all the time, or just room temperature water, or some apple juice or something, I have me some tea, and it's been working out. I just have to make sure I don't make it too hot, though. That's the thing. I had to figure out a method not to make the tea too hot. But as I think of it out loud, it doesn't come and go there. I put ice cube in it to control it just in case it's too hot. Alright, I gotta let that cool for a minute, but I'm happy it's there. Thank you for coming in. My name is LA, pronounced like LA, like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm breezy. It is January. I did it again. Y'all know, I always say, it's too many J's in the calendar year. There's January, June, and July. It is July 31st, 2025. It is the last day of this month, and this is the 7th month. This is crazy because last time I actually took the liberty to talk about the months, I was celebrating that the fact that we have successfully completed the calendar year, halfway through the calendar year. We're past the halfway point. It's going by fast. So hope you guys are pleased with everything going on in your calendar year. You still have time to reach those goals. We are rolling steadily into the summertime. The harvest time. So let's see here. Thank you for coming in. I put this in there, and I kind of want to get started a little bit. I really enjoyed the topic yesterday, and I have the description in the description box. There's a link, so if you want to follow along with me, there is the Wikipedia link. I left my tab section open for the world to see, excuse me. And let's see here. I left off at, let me scroll up, early life. At the top of Wikipedia, guys, it says this. This article may be too long to read and navigate comfortably. Consider splitting content into sub-articles, condensing it, or adding subheadings. So this is a lengthy page in reference to Hulk Hogan, and I don't even think I made it through half of it. But I want to spend one more day to go through it because I like how it was written in order, and it reads like a movie script. So if somebody ever wanted to make a movie about this guy's life and you just wanted to go off of Wikipedia, it gives a great timeline from him, like from being a child all the way to his preteens, all the way to his teens, all the way to the moment and day when he started to really craft himself into being Hulk Hogan. I thought that was really cool because, you know, a child usually knows what they want to do in life. It's just the parents and surrounding who kind of unfortunately beat it out of them to be something else they feel will work. But with him, it don't seem like he got that from his parents, which is cool, but he got that from people closest to him. For example, someone he grew up with in high school. He met opposition that he didn't know he was going to face again, from a high school friend, and then from a mentor who was, I think, his elder, who came in and just broke the dude's leg. The dude meaning Hulk Hogan. Soon as Hulk Hogan made a decision, and he did announce it to his town that he was going to stop being in a rock band and pursue wrestling. When he got into the ring to train, his elder intentionally broke his leg, put him out for 10 weeks, and he just got started. Hulk Hogan made it his official business to protect himself from having that idiot break his leg again. That's terrible. So I really enjoyed how this story is a reflection of all of us who want to do something outside of the norm, and how the moment you announce you want to do something, you're going to face adversity right off the rip, and sometimes it's going to hit really hard. It put him down for 10 weeks. He could have went into a depression. He could have gained a lot of weight, you know, and had to deal with losing it all and feeling betrayal and feeling like, wow, I came to this guy because he's my elder. I wanted to get some support. I thought he was going to believe in me, but now he intentionally broke my legs. I need my legs. So he could have thought of all that stuff. Heaven knows what he went through behind the scenes emotionally, but those are the things that could have happened. But he went back to the ring and he showed up. So there's a paragraph that I want to reread again so I can keep going, because I closed with this paragraph from Wikipedia because it's just to show strength, pull strength out of his story. And it's a reflection of all of our stories who have decided to take control of our life and be something different from what our parents or fans or family may want us to be. So in Wikipedia, in the category where it says early life, that's where I will be reading from. Hi guys, thanks for coming in. Hey Duke Space Ranger, long time no see, welcome back. Round from the Atlanta Journal Constitution Times, I'm thinking, thank you for coming in to see. So in this paragraph I'm going to read right here, it's a great way to open. It says, impressed by Hogan's physical stature, the Briscoe brothers asked Hiro Matsuda, the man who trained wrestlers working for Championship Wrestling from Florida, CWF, to make him a potential trainee. In 1976, the two brothers asked Hogan to try wrestling. Hogan eventually agreed. At first, Mike Graham, the son of CWF promoter Eddie Graham, refused to put Hogan in the ring. According to Hogan, he met Graham while in high school and the two did not get along. After Hogan quit Ruckus, which is his rock band, and started telling people in town that he was going to be a wrestler, Graham finally agreed to accept the Briscoe brothers' request. During the first session in training, Matsuda broke Hogan's leg. After 10 weeks of rehab, Hogan returned to train with M and blocked him when he tried to break his leg again. Whew, that was heavy. We have reached the 10-minute mark, guys, and you know what time it is? It is time for the cows in the chat. What a great opening for this Hulk Hogan Part 2 video, right? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, pets, plants, animals, artificial intelligence, aliens, and all living, breathing things here on this great melting pot called Earth. Welcome and thank you for coming in and showing your love and support. It is time for some fun, good old classic audience participation. Cows in the chat. I sing a little song and I put cows in the chat. You can put cows in the chat, animal emojis in the chat, or your favorite emoji in the chat in general. It goes like this. Harmonica, please. Thank you. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Moo. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Moo. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. I will be putting glorious cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Moo. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Here at LA TV, I being LA, would like to take this special time to apologize to the lovely bovines, because the science people, the NASA people, the government people, and all the people who claim that are important that run this world have placed the blame on beautiful cows, saying that they are the reason for global warming. I guess since the science people who run the world ran out of people to blame, they decided to place the blame on the cows. Oh, moo, moo, moo. So I'd like to take this time to celebrate cows. Not only are they cute and adorable, and if it weren't for cows, there wouldn't be any Burger King. Or milk for our cereal. That is why we're celebrating cows. I'm going to put another row of cows in here to celebrate. And I'm going to sing the song one more time. Or my dance coach will say, one more again. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. Moo. Cows in the chat. Cows in the chat. And I like to end by putting a unicorn in here. I like unicorns. So one of my favorite emojis, one of them out of many, is a unicorn. So I'm going to type in the search for the emoji unicorn and put a cute little unicorn in here. Unicorn. 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 Ooh, it's a squirrel next to the unicorn, guys. I typed in unicorn and unicorn is here, squirrel, and the skunk. I'm gonna push it on here and see if it shows up. That's cute. There they are. Thank you guys for coming into LA TV. We are watching the morning moo. Hope all is well with you. It is a wonderful Thursday morning. The time is 5:05 a.m. and we actually are just now starting to roll into things. I caught everybody up for what we talked about yesterday, and we're going to lead right in where we started from, talking about the legendary Hulk Hogan. I am on Wikipedia reading through here, so if you want to follow along with me, I have the link in the description, the Wikipedia page, and I am on the portion, if you scroll all the way down, it says professional wrestling career, early years, 1977 through 1979. I'm curious to see what else they're going to say. Here we go. In mid-1977, after training for more than a year with Medusa or M, the Briscoe brothers dropped by Jim to see Hogan. During his visit, Jack Briscoe handed Hogan a pair of wrestling boots and informed him that he was scheduled to wrestle his first match the following week, already getting started. In his professional wrestling debut, Eddie Graham booked him against Brian Blair in Fort Myers. That kind of sounds like a setup for a video game or something. Brian Blair sounds like someone who'd be a character's name in a video game. So in his professional wrestling debut, Eddie Graham booked him against Brian Blair in Fort Myers, Florida on August 10th, 1977 in CWF. A short time later, Hogan donned the mask and assumed the persona of the Super Destroyer, a hooded character first played by John Dardenne Jardine, and subsequently used by other wrestlers. So this is cool. It's reminding me of Spider-Man when Spider-Man started to take on the persona of his own. How when he made his costume, it was janky, but the intentions were pure because he saw the vision and he did the best he could to make it a reality with the resources he had. So this is cool. It's kind of reminding me of the Spider-Man movie. Hulk Hogan is setting up. Hogan eventually could no longer work with M, whom he felt was an overbearing trainer. I agree, because that's the man who broke his leg and tried to do it again. And left CWF, so he decided to leave that guy, thankfully. After declining an offer to wrestle for Kansas City Circuit, Hogan took a hiatus from wrestling and managed an anchor club, a private club on Cocoa Beach, Florida, for a man named Whitley Bridges. Eventually, Whitney and Hogan became close friends and opened the gym together, and the gym became known as Whitney and Terry's Olympic Gym. Now that's cool. I like the sound of that. It reminds me of a cartoon on Cartoon Network. Honestly, it sounds like a cartoon from there. That's really cool. So he's moving along. He made his choice to separate from the man who was intentionally trying to sabotage him in the name of helping. So I'm glad that ended well, because it could have ended worse. So that's a really good transition. Oh, excuse me. This tea is amazing, but it's a little too hot, but it's working. Soon after, Hogan's friend Ed Leslie, later known as Brutus Beefcake, came to Cocoa Beach to help Hogan and Bridges manage both the Anchor Club and Whitney and Terry's Olympic Gym. In his spare time, both he and Leslie worked out in the gym together, and eventually Beefcake developed a muscular physique. Hogan was impressed by Beefcake's physique stature and became convinced that the two of them should wrestle together as tag team partners. That is cool. Depressed and yearning to return to wrestling, Hogan called superstar Billy Graham in 1978 with hopes that Graham could find him a job wrestling outside of Florida. Graham agreed, and Hogan soon joined Louis Teller's Alabama territory. Hogan also convinced Leslie, who had yet to become a wrestler, to come with him and promised to teach him everything he knew about the sport. This is fun. Hey, Chicken Noodle Soup, thanks for coming back in. I like this paragraph because it's showing how the gang is forming together. Kind of like this paragraph reminds me of Ghostbusters, the original movie. How the team formed, getting the gang together to make something great. Little did they know that it was going to be this great, and we're talking about all of them to this day. It's 2025, but just think, those years ago, they were just starting up from a dream, starting up from something they wanted to do, and they were taking baby steps and just inching it through and making it happen. We're watching the formulation of the first tag team with Hulk Hogan. We're seeing how he became friends with someone. So technically, those people in his past they weren't his friends. So he cut ties with them, separated himself. He lost, quote, friends who weren't really friends, and made a true one. They opened up a business, started to work together, and now they're tagging up to work together, not only in the gym that they have, but to be tag team wrestling partners. And now Hulk Hogan is ready to look outside of his town of Florida and go on to bigger and better things. So this is cool because it's showing growth on so many ways. Not financially, friendship wise, and then how he's starting to view the world and to see that he wants to do more. This is pretty cool. I'm going to continue on reading. It's like I'm reading a really good book. So this is cool. In Alabama, Hogan and Leslie wrestled as Terry and Ed Boulder, known as the Boulder Brothers. These early matches prompted a rumor among wrestling fans who were not aware of the inner workings of the wrestling business, dun, 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 that the two really were brothers. As few people actually knew their real names outside of immediate friends, family, and the various promoters the two worked for. After wrestling the show for Continental Wrestling Association, known as CWA in Memphis, Jerry Jarrett, the promoter for the CWA, approached Hulk Hogan and Leslie and offered them a job in his promotion for $800 a week, guys. And that's a lot, especially from that time. That's like $1 million, especially if you know how to conserve your money and shop frugally. That's a ridiculous amount. So $800 a week. This was far more than the $175 a week they would make for Tillett. Hogan and Leslie accepted this offer and left Tillett's territory. This is a cool paragraph because it shows that he went into his first business decision, and there wasn't anybody around to this time to like deter him from making a choice. Now we're talking about financial decisions. I mean, this is a really big one right here because he had to decide, which was a no-brainer, but even still, to make sure that what he was getting into wasn't going to be detrimental, because he was getting $175 and offered $800. We don't know his thought process behind it. The money looks good, but at what cost? Is this guy that he's gonna be accepting money from gonna be just as bad as the guy who broke his leg when he was first starting to train? Because he already got a taste of that, and that was hell on earth. So I would like to know the thought processes behind that, but he's making his first financial decision on his own with his best friend by his side. So we're seeing growth all the way around, no stagnation. During his time in Memphis, Hogan appeared on a local talk show. He's moving on up, guys, where he sat beside Lou Ferrigno, star a television series, The Incredible Hulk. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I was just talking to my husband about that yesterday. I was like, what if The Incredible Hulk had like a TV show with Hulk Hogan? I wouldn't want them going against one another, but it would be cool if they had like a TV show, or at least come out now, if they have the permission to have a little mini series with Incredible Hulk and Hulk Hogan, just kicking it up in the town, being cool, tearing up the place in a good way, like the Teen Titans. Man, that would really be cool. And now I'm reading about how he got to have an interview with the guy, or sat beside Lou, the star of the television series The Incredible Hulk. Because sometimes history repeats itself and then comes back around. Even though Hulk is no longer with us, the thought still can be actualized and could come back around in the form of a cartoon or something. Wow. Yikes! Too hot. The host commented on how Hogan, who stood 6'7" and weighed 295 pounds, actually dwarfed the Hulk. Dude, watching the show backstage, Mary Jarrett noticed that Hogan was actually bigger than Ferrigno, who was well known at the time for having large muscles. As a result, Hogan began performing as Terry the Hulk Boulder, and sometimes wrestling as Sterling Golden. This is nice. On December 1st, guys, 1979, Hogan won his first professional wrestling championship. Look at that. The NWA Southeastern Heavyweight Championship Northern Division, recognized in Alabama and Tennessee, when he defeated Bob Roop in Knoxville, Tennessee. He dropped it in January 1980 to Bob Armstrong. He briefly wrestled in the Georgia Championship Wrestling, also known as GCW territory, from September through December 1979 as Sterling Golden. I'm going to hover over these things to see if I can read something else out of it. Far as the Professional Wrestling Championship, the championship or title is a recognition promoted by professional wrestling organizations. Championship reigns are determined by professional wrestling matches. As far as the NWA Southeastern Heavyweight Championship, it was a major title in NWA's Alabama territory known as Southeastern Championship Wrestling. It existed from 1972 until 1988, when the promotion became the Continental Wrestling Federation. So the name has changed, but it still seems like it's still there, you know? Hey Lee, what's going on? What's going on? Guinness 88, thank you guys for coming in. Welcome to the show. This is a part 2. I wanted to read more of this because Wikipedia, I'm in day 2 of this. For some reason I lost connection, but I reconnected just that fast. Thank you, YouTube, for keeping that situation together. So now, if you're following along with me on Wikipedia, World Wrestling Federation 1979 to 1981, let's see how they write this. It comes in with a picture down at the bottom. I think this will be the 3rd picture down. It's got Hulk, and there's a guy beside him holding the number 24. So that is where I'm at if you want to follow along with me. Hogan and his manager Freddie in 1980. World Wrestling Federation 1979 from 1981. It says here, in the fall of 1979, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Terry Funk introduced Bolela to WWF owner promoter Vincent J. McMahon, who was impressed with his charisma and physical stature. McMahon, who wanted to use an Irish name, gave him the last name Hogan and also wanted him to dye his hair red. You guys remember that? Bolela claims his hair was already beginning to fall out by that time, and he refused to dye it, simply replying, "I'll be a blonde Irish." Bolela wrestled his first match in WWF under the ring name Hulk Hogan. So officially Hulk Hogan was born. Man, that's really cool. I might have to read this silently by myself again after this is done, because this is a great story. It's a good story. Now we're actually walking into the Hulk Hogan era, where he officially came out as Hulk Hogan. His name has been changed. He's working with someone else. He was suggested to dye his hair red, and I'm glad he didn't make that move. Good mercy. And he decided to stick to his guns and keep things as they were. Let's see here. So he refused to dye it, and he made his first appearance at Madison Square Garden, guys, in December 17th, 1979, defeating Ted DiBiase after a bear hug. After the match, Hogan thanked DiBiase for putting him over and told him that he would owe him one, end quote. A favor he repaid during DiBiase's second run with the company in late 1980s and early 1990s as the $1 Million Man. McMahon gave Hogan former tag team champion Tony Alomar a chaperone and guide. Look at that. And this time, Hogan wrestled Bob Backlund of the WWF Championship. And he started his first big feud with Andre the Giant, which culminated in a match with Andre at Shea Stadium in August 1980. During his initial run as the villain in WWF, Hogan was paired with classy Freddie Blassie, himself as the villainous wrestler turned manager. Look how things are started to turn after he started to get into a rhythm of himself and to make his own power moves and decisions. Things started to really click into gear. It reminds me of us, you know, like when you make a decision, you are probably going to be hit with some adversity. It put him out for 10 weeks. Some of us, it may put us out for a decade. It's really weird because when you decide to take control of your own destiny and step outside of the box of what, you know, family, friends want you to be or expect you to be or thought you were supposed to be, it can take you off course. But if you think of it this way, it did take you off course. It took you off the course of being predictable. It took you off the course of having the people who are your set friends and family and loved ones to think they know you. they once did. If you stayed in their ideal of who they thought you were, they will be able to predict your moves. They will be able to know you. But by you taking the stand and taking charge of your life and fighting against that, you change everything. So sometimes it may take longer, because if you decided to stay in the predetermined set course, it's already written from beginning to end. So by you taking the stand for yourself like Hulk Hogan and standing up for the things he wanted to do, of course you got knocked off kilter, but it's for a good thing. So you literally rewrote your destiny, and it's got to catch up. Even though time is fast, it's got to catch up. And for some of us, it may take longer, and it may start to seem like a dang on mistake. But that's not the case. Sometimes saying no to something changes your life forever. So this Hulk Hogan story is deeper than just him being the man who made mistakes. It takes you through the timeline of his life. It talks about how he made a stand, how he started to think for himself, and he made a good friend. It was revealed early in time who his so-called friends were. They weren't friends, and how you had to keep going even though you have a boatload of stuff on your hands. When you decide to make a stand, you got a lot of grown adult issues you got to deal with mentally. He decided to make a stand in his teens, all right? So that meant when that came with grown man choices. He had to instantly get into a grown man's mind, because he was hit with betrayal, financial decisions, wondered if he wanted to pursue college again. He quit the band. He took a bet on himself. This is a lot. This is like us in this story in a way. So moving forward here, there's something that stood out to me that I want to read, that I'm actually able to highlight in here, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden, colloquially known as the Garden, or by its initials MSG, is a multi-purpose indoor arena in New York City. Shout out to New York City. It is located in Midtown Manhattan. Shout out to Manhattan, between 7th and 8th Avenues, from 31st to 33rd Streets above Pennsylvania Station. So that's really cool, because that's where Hulk Hogan, when he took on that name Hogan, made his shiny, splashy debut. So it was like he was having this official coming out party. It took a few years to develop this character to which he knew he wanted to be, and to materialize it, and to work it, and to mold it. And he made his debut at Madison Square Garden in New York. And he won. This happened December 1979. And that's really cool, guys. This is a really cool thing. New Japan Pro Wrestling from 1980 to 1985. I want to see what they have to say about this. I like the timeline. It's keeping me abreast of everything, and it's a gentle reminder of where he came from and where he's going. In 1980, Hogan began appearing in New Japan Pro Wrestling, known as NJPW. New Japan Pro Wrestling, or simply New Japan, is a Japanese professional wrestling promotion founded in January 13, 1972, guys, by Antonio Inoki, and based in Nanoko, Tokyo. Now that's neat. Is currently majority owned by card game company Bushiroad, with TV Ashi and Amuse Incorporated. So that's some information about this as we go into the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. In 1980, Hogan began appearing in New Japan Pro Wrestling, NJPW, where Japanese wrestling fans nicknamed him Ichiban, number one. That's awesome. Already receiving love from the other side. Hogan first appeared May 13th, 1980, while he was still with the WWF. He continually toured the country over the first few years, facing a wide variety of opponents, ranging from Tsunami Fujinami, Abdullah the Butcher. When competing in Japan, Hogan used a vastly different repertoire of wrestling moves. relying on more technical traditional wrestling holds and maneuvers as opposed to the power-based brawling styles American fans became accustomed to seeing from him. In addition, Hogan used the Axe Bomber, a crooked arm lariat, as his finisher in Japan instead of the running leg drop. I remember that. That was his standard finisher in America. Hogan still made appearances for the WWF, even unsuccessfully challenging Pedro Morales for the Intercontinental Championship on March 26, 1981. I want to go back because I want to read some of the highlights on here, guys. I want to read about Tsunami. So the guy he wrestled against, one that they mentioned is Tsunami Fujinami, is a Japanese professional wrestler. He is signed to WWE on a Legends contract. Fujinami is best known for his long tenure with New Japan Pro Wrestling, also known as NJPW, where he was a six-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, known for his fluent catch wrestling submission. I want to also shout out to Abdullah, and it's Abdullah Robert Shavir, better known by the ring name Abdullah the Butcher, is a Canadian retired professional wrestler. He has a reputation for being involved in some of the most violent, bloody, hardcore wrestling matches of all time. So shouts out to them, because when Hulk went over to the Japan area, he got to meet these two people here. And that's pretty cool. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for liking the video. Good morning to you. It is pretty much 5:30 a.m. here. It's the last day in the month of July 31st, 2025. Good morning to you, or good night to you. It's nice to know that we are reaching both sides of the world at the same time. That's one of the cool miracles about YouTube, is that I can reach people here in my country and other countries. Thank you for coming in. I'm reading from Wikipedia right now. I'm going to pick up where I left off. I'm on the category of New Japan Pro Wrestling 1980 to 1985. If you're interested in following along, I have the link in the description box. Hi. I want to talk about or read about the closer, how Hulk Hogan usually uses the running leg drop to finish off, his opponents in wrestling. He didn't use that technique when he was over in Japan. He decided to use something else. Welcome from New York. We're talking about how the legendary Hulk Hogan basically made his splashy debut as Hulk. He came out as Hulk Hogan, and where you're from. So welcome in. It's sad that he was at, the Madison Square Garden when he came out, and no other place but yours, New York City. So back to here, it says running leg drop. A leg drop or leg drop refers to an attack used in professional wrestling in which an attack wrestler will jump and land on his leg across the fallen opponent's chest, throat, face, or head, in some cases their lower area. Oh man, glad you're doing okay. Thank you for coming in. Hope you're having a good morning. So he decided to finish in Japan, closing out with something else. So Hogan used the Axe Bomber, a crooked arm lariat, as his finisher in Japan instead of the running leg drop. The crooked arm that move is known as strikes. It can be offensive moves in professional wrestling that can sometimes be used to set up an opponent for a hold or for a throw. There are a wide variety of strikes in pro wrestling, and many are known by several different names. Hogan still made appearances in the WWF, even unsuccessfully challenging Pedro Morales for the Intercontinental Championship in March 26, 1981. We're already in 1981, guys. He's done a whole bunch already. On June 2nd, 1983, Hogan became the first International Wrestling Grand Prix, also known as the IWGP Tournament winner. and the first holder of the early version of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, defeating Antonio Inoki by knockout in the finals of a 10-man tournament. Since then, his championship was defeated annually against the winner of the IWGP League of the Year until it was replaced by the current IWGP Heavyweight Championship that is defended. Now, that was a lot in this paragraph. The paragraph's titled New Japan Pro Wrestling 1980 to 1985, guys. And we're learning a lot in this paragraph. To break it down, there's Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant during the Superdome Showdown professional wrestling event on August 2nd, 1980 in New Orleans. Andre the Giant, Andre Rene Rossmoff, better known by his ring name Andre the Giant, was a French professional wrestler and actor, dubbed the eighth wonder of the world. Rossmoff was known for his great size, which was a result of gigantism caused by excess human growth hormone. We're learning a lot in this YouTube world about Hulk Hogan. In addition to all the people that he was involved with during wrestling, these people were just as important as he is because he got to work with them, wrestle with them. They came into his circle of life, you know. So that means they too are important. I like how, as his story unfolds on Wikipedia, as it starts from infancy all the way up to him being like a grown man, it shows all the people he came in contact with, how some stayed and some left. Some just fell off by default, and some stayed with him longer through the test of time. And how his outer circle, he met people, which are the wrestlers. And you know, all these people were a part of his life. It's really cool. Sometimes you meet people for a moment, but they make a big impact. And his wrestling story shows that. It's a reflection of life. Like, he decided to course correct and change his career once again. He went to college, he had a rock band, and he decided to fully commit to being a wrestler. And when he did that, he had that entitled him, should I say, to work with other people in that realm. It's just really neat. The people who you run into just by simply course correcting where you want to be in life. So just think, if he decided to just continue to stick to being in his rock band, the types of people who would have been in his outer circle that he would have made contact with, this whole story about him would have read differently. We'd be talking about different people. We'd be naming different names. We probably wouldn't be talking about the state of Florida as much, or would we have been? Will we have mentioned Madison Square Garden under the aspects of him of wrestling, or will we have been talking about Hulk Hogan and his circle if he chose to stay with Rock and commit to that? Will we have been talking about Hulk Hogan going to Madison Square Garden, being introduced as his band? There is really cool. I think that's really neat. So this could have read differently, and if that was the case, also, would I be taking the time to read about him now under this light, had he not chose to be a wrestler and stuck with just sticking with college or sticking with the rock band? It impacted so many, his decision impacted so many people's lives. Mine's, yours. That's why you're here, you know? So just think, if he didn't stick to his guns and decided to put the guitar down, we wouldn't even be here, none of us. So one person can change the world, meaning that means a lot. So I got you guys, when I'm reading this Hulk Hogan timeline, I'm pulling out glimpses of hope about how you and I, just how important we are, you know, how our decisions do impact everything and everyone around us. The thing is, it's like we don't get a chance to see it until it might be too late. So through this story, you can see it yourself in here and show just how important you are. I'm going to continue on here. I just started this, guys, and it's 45 minutes into this already, and I'm just taking out so many pieces in this reading that are inspirational, and motivational. Hogan and Inoki also worked as partners in Japan, winning the MSG Madison Square Garden Tag League Tournament 2 years in a row, guys, in 1982 and in 1983. Now, this is where it really gets important, because Hulk Hogan was doing his thing all the way up to this time. So he impacted, and in fact, he impacted my mom and my dad, and that, if that's the case, he impacted my grandparents' life. So it was cool because he was setting the scene. He was already a talk of the town in our family. My grandparents, my parents, and now in 1984, when I was born, me. That's 3 generations of people. Whether you thought of it or not, or whether you like it or not, he touched 3 generations of people. Dang near 4 or 5 generations of people. Just one person making one decision, standing for himself to make a career choice that he wanted. 3, 4, 5 generations now. So Hogan and Inoki also worked as partners in Japan, winning the MSG Madison Square Garden Tag League Tournament 2 years in a row in 1982 and in 1983. And in 1984, Hogan returned to NJPW to wrestle Inoki to defend the early version of the IWGP title. After that, Inoki won in the finals of the IWGP League, becoming the new #1 contender to the championship. Hogan lost the match and the title belt by a knockout, thanks to interference from Riki Choshu. Riki Choshu, better known by his ring name Riki Choshu, is a Southern Korean Japanese retired professional wrestler who is best known for his long-time work in New Japan Pro Wrestling, also known as JPW, as both a wrestler and a booker. He's considered one of Japan's most influential wrestlers. Let's see here. Hogan lost the match and title belt by a knockout, thanks to who we just read about, to Riki Choshu. Hogan also defended his WWF World Heavyweight Championship against Seiji Saguchi and Fujinami, among others, until ending his tour in Nagoya on June 13th. He was there a long time, losing to Inoki via knockout. No. It says losing to Inoki via a countout in the championship match for the early version of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Hogan was the only challenger in the history of that title that didn't win the tournament to become the #1 contender to the championship. Heck, after all that, he won. It seems like he was the first one to go through all that rigmarole, so that's championship right there. Sometimes when you are the first or even the second to lay the foundation for the world to follow behind you, it seems like you lose, but the bigger picture here is being the first to pave the way. It's no roadmap to that. Being the second to pave the way, there's no roadmap to that, because you don't know how much time it takes in between from the first person paving the way for the second person to get the cojones to do it too. So by all that time, the first path could have been grown over, weeds could have come back in it, could have been washed away with time. So you got to pretty much do it all over again. So sometimes when you're breaking out on a limb, turning over a new leaf, paving your own way, you may not get the results that you want that qualifies you as winning. Like, he didn't win the title over there, but he won in a dozen other ways. Being the first to do it, second to do it, or the third to do it, to pay the way. So that's how you count your wins is. Hey, the shark is gone, but I can tell you this. I talked to Hercules yesterday. He's doing great. He had a great time above water. He's, in recovery now. I talked to him yesterday by way of, video call, Banana Boy, and he was eating a big old bowl of ramen and doing great. He said he had a great time in Shark Week, and he hopes to see you guys on next year, Hey CXM. Yeah, so Hercules is doing great. But if you guys want to see more Hercules, he said, you know what you gotta do? Put it in the comments or post it up to my community tab and express your grievances of how much you miss Hercules, and maybe we can work something out. But for now, Hercules is back home and he'll be back next year for Shark Week. Happy birthday to you. Yup, Shark Week is once a year. But if you want to see more of him, let us know on LA TV through comments and what have you. Now that you brought it up, I'm going to say give you a digital birthday cake. That's awesome. Let me put happy birthday to you. Since we're reaching the top of the hour, let me see here. You are welcome. I'm looking for it right now. There you are. I'm looking for my happy birthday emoji, so please pardon my motor skills. They're a little slow right now, but I'm looking for a birthday cake emoji for you. And let me find it on here. CAKE. Oh, there it is. I found it. Here's the birthday cake emoji. And I want to put some happy faces on here. Having a birthday is a good thing. Oh, happy face. There it is. Found the happy faces. Here you go. You like Hercules? He has a nice voice. It's awesome. Yeah, Hercules is something else. He was eating ramen noodle last time I chatted with him on what do you call? I was about to say robot call, not robot call. FaceTime or what have you. So moving forward here, American Wrestling Association, 1981 to 83. After accepting an offer to work on the film Rocky III, this is big. A decision Vincent J. McMahon disapproved of and subsequently chose to release Hogan from the promotion for, which is messed up because why wouldn't you want him to be in the movie? Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. It is CXM's birthday. If you would like to give out digital shout outs by way of cupcakes and like I did a birthday cake, have at it. It's a great time to celebrate someone making it through another year. This is good. So it's basically Happy New Year to you. Technically, it's also your new year. Your new year starts now. Happy New Year. So this right here is interesting. I'm wondering if this is one of those situations where Hulk Hogan intentionally got his leg broken by his mentor, because this guy is upset with Hulk Hogan for wanting to participate in the Rocky III movie. How could people be so envious of someone? They don't want them to take opportunities. Don't they know that if you're a friend, because Hulk Hogan was a friend to these people, if he makes it, everybody makes it. Why don't people think that way? If my friend makes it, I make it too. So, after accepting an offer to work on the film Rocky III, a decision Vincent J. McMahon disapproved of and subsequently chose to release Hogan from the from the promotion for Hogan made its debut in the American Wrestling Association, AWA, owned by Vern Gang. In August 1981, Hogan started his AWA run as a villain with Lucius Johnny Valiant as his manager. This did not last long. However, as the AWA fans fell in love with Hogan's presence, and Hogan became the top fan favorite of the AWA, battling Heenan family and Nick Bockwinkel. This is cool. So once again, he made a choice. He wanted to be in the movie, and the guy was like, well, you're out of here, which is dumb. But he made a choice, and that choice lost him a partnership. Definitely not a friendship. So Rocky III, guys, is a 1982 American sports drama film written and directed by and starring Sylvester Stallone. I don't think they give him enough credit, because heck, it's kind of like I don't hear it so much. It's kind of like I want to say I didn't know, or should I say I forgot, that he had basically complete control over the movie. So Rocky III is a 1982 American sports drama film written and directed by and starring Sylvester Stallone. The film is the sequel to Rocky II from 1978 and the third installment in the Rocky franchise. It also stars Tyler Scher, Burt Young, Carl Weathers, and Burgess Meredith. All of the original Rockies are fun movies. This year, on one of the cable channels, they played all of the Rocky movies on the 4th of July and in order. We did not turn the channel until all the movies played. The last movie went off around what, 4:30 in the morning or something. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely not getting up making the video. That was fun, guys. That was really cool. So he was in there. Hogan's turn as a fan favorite came at the end of July 1981, when during the television taping that aired in August, Jerry Blackwell, after suffering a pinfall loss in Brad Riggins, began beating down Riggins and easily fighting off anyone who tried to run in to save. What? Hogan ran in, got the upper hand, and ran. Blackwell fell from the ring. Hogan was eventually victorious in his feud with Blackwell, and by the end of 1981, gained his first title matches against Bockwinkel. I am going to highlight this here. Jerry Blackwell was an American professional wrestler, better known by his ring name Crusher. Blackwell competed in 1979 World's Strongest Man contest, but withdrew early in the competition due to an injury. If you look at Jerry Blackwell, he looks like the guy from Lost. Remember the heavyset guy on Lost? He looks just like him. So it's pretty cool, because as soon as the picture came up, I instantly thought of the character from Lost. That's awesome. And then Bradley Riggins is an American former Greco-Roman wrestler and professional wrestler. He was a member of the United States Greco-Roman wrestling teams for the 1976 and 1980 Summer Olympics, guys. Summer Olympics. What do you guys think about the Olympics nowadays? Is it the same? To me, it's not. Everything has to, change and stuff. I don't mind the changes, but sometimes it loses its strength. And that's just what it is. Just one moment, I'm going to have a sip of tea. I see you guys participated in the surveys. I am curious to see what you guys have chosen. Which cereal would you choose today as we reach the top of the hour? Cheerios, any kind, 88% chose Cheerios, and Frosted Mini Wheats, 12%. I am going to choose Frosted Mini Wheats for the crunch. So let me type this in here, and then we'll roll back into this fine reading here. So I am choosing Frosted Mini Wheats. Let me see here. As I thumb through the emojis to make my selection, I'm choosing Frosted Mini Wheats. It would help if I took the caps lock off, right? Like, girl, why you shouting? The cereal of choice for me today is Frosted Mini Wheats. Thank you guys for participating in the survey. There we go. I picked Frosted Mini Wheats, and we are at the top of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, pets, plants, animals, artificial intelligence, aliens, and all living things here on this planet Earth. They say America is the great American melting pot. I beg to differ. Earth is the melting pot. Welcome to Planet Earth. Welcome to LA TV. Welcome to the Morning Moo. It is the top of the hour, and it is time for what? Cows in the chat. Since we are on here and I'm not leaving just yet, let's get ready. Harmonica, please. Thank you. Ding, 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 ding. Cows in the chat. Calls 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 in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the time where you put cows in the chat, your favorite animal emojis in the chat, or your favorite emojis in general in the chat. We take the time here on LA TV to shout out our beautiful bovines because the science people like to place the blame on these precious cows for being the cause of global warming. I guess they ran out of people to blame and started placing the blame on these precious cows. So I like putting cows in the chat to celebrate them. Cows in the chat, cows in the chat. Cows in the chat, calls in the chat. Thank you guys for your participation. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to put in a unicorn. I like putting a unicorn in here because it's cute. Unicorn. And the unicorn is placed. And once again, cows everywhere. I am so sorry that some of the people are blaming you for global warming, and they're probably going to tie you in for the end of the world. Here at LA TV, cows are loved, accepted, and appreciated. Moving forward, good morning to you all and good night to some of you as we are touching around the world. Isn't that really cool, the power of the internet? I'm talking to like 2 different time zones at the same time from the comfort of my home. It is basically 6 o'clock on July 31st, 2025. This is the last day of the calendar year the last day for the last day for July 2025. Making the most of it right here. I'm talking about the legendary Hulk Hogan. I am reading from Wikipedia for the ones who are new here. Welcome in, and thank you for the ones who have stuck it out with me from about an hour ago. I'm reading from Wikipedia, and I am on the portion way down at the bottom now. American Wrestling Association. We've passed that part now. It's probably like the 5th or 6th picture down if you want to search through there. So we are going to read this last paragraph right here because I'm curious of what happened after all of this. The transitioning from him being in the Rocky 3 movie and cutting ties with the guy because he didn't want him to be in it. It seems like another chapter of his life is wrapping up. So in March 82, Hogan defeated Bockwinkel and his manager Bobby Heenan in a non-title handicap match in the International Amphitheater in Chicago. So the handicap match is right here. It says many types of wrestling matches, some called gimmick matches in the jargon of business, are performed in professional wrestling. Some gimmick matches are more common than others and often used to advance or conclude a storyline, which we're wrapping things up. No moo moo bark bark. Hercules sends his love. I talked to him yesterday. Hercules only comes on 1 week out of the year to celebrate Shark Week, but he did say if you want him to come back, you can express that in the community tab. and talk about how you want him to come back, and maybe we can figure out what to do. But as of now, Hercules is back underwater, resting. Last time I checked, I talked to him yesterday. He was eating a large bowl of ramen noodles. And just put in the comments on the community tab whether you want him back and what you liked about him, and we'll keep moving forward from there. Thank you for coming in. This is the morning moo. And that's the song for morning moo. Thank you guys for coming in. Good morning and good night to some of you. Hogan went on to repeatedly challenge Bockwinkel for the AWA World Heavyweight Championship, with the matches generally ending in disqualifications. A decision wherein the championship does not change hands. In 1982, Hogan defeated Bockwinkel and was declared the new AWA World Heavyweight Champion, only for the decision to be overturned by AWA President Stanley Blackburn due to the use of foreign objects during the match. That's messed up. So he wins, then that's messed up. But then they take it away. Morning moves. Welcome, Rhombus Rubus, to the morning moves. You are watching the morning moves. Thank you for coming in. Where here we have our tea, our coffee, our hot chocolate, our warm blankets or our onesies, and we just hang out like the cool people do. I even have cereal. I have Fruit Loops today. Yesterday I had a mixture of Fruit Loops and Lucky Charms mixed in here, and I just hang and chat and chill with you guys in the morning. You know, like the people at McDonald's once upon a time who would drink overly hot coffee, read the newspaper, and hang with their friends. Well, this is that, but in digital times. All the cool people like you, and you. We come here, hang out in the morning. What a way to start your morning or close out your night with something lighthearted and positive. Thank you for coming in. And God bless you too. Thank you for that. Thank you for your nice words. And welcome to the morning moo. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm going to continue reading. This is getting really interesting. I keep finding myself saying that, but it really is. With each paragraph, it's just like, man, what else is going to happen? So Hogan defeated Bockwinkel and was declared the new AWA Heavyweight Champion, only for the decision to be overturned by AWA President Stanley Blackburn due to the use of a foreign object during the match. Hogan left AWA in November 1983. Hogan reportedly did this by sending his notice that he was quitting via letter to Gang. Gang thought it was a prank from another promoter until he realized Hogan was not showing up for AWA shows. Now, there was a documentary I ran across, I think by way of YouTube, who knows, where I remember watching that. There was a guy talking about how Hulk Hogan, basically turned in his resignation by letter, and no one believed him. They thought it was a joke. So it's cool to see that moment in time not only documented in Wikipedia, but it was also documented like in movies and stuff too. So that's pretty cool. Crispix is a good cereal. It's like Crispix cereal is like Chex Mix. And it's really good, but Crispix cereal is actually more crispier than Chex Mix. I like Chex Mix cereal. I can just have that plain, with no milk. It's a great snack. And of course, you mix it in with trail mix, right? Right, Rhombus, Rubus? So, Crispix cereal is very good. The first image that comes to mind with that when I grew up, excuse me. You see this color background behind me? That was the box I was introduced to with Crispix cereal. The box was that color, like the color behind me in my background, and the words were big and white, and it simply had Crispix at the top, and then it had a big old magnified picture of the cereal in the center, and that was it. I had it once or twice in my life by way of my mom, and it was a good cereal. I just ate it as a snack. It's a good cereal. Thank you for sharing that. Shark bark bark. Thank you for your audience participation. I'm glad you like Hercules the Shark. We've got Return to WWF. It didn't touch on it too much. It's just got it in big bold. It says Return to WWF from 1983 to 1993. Rise of Hulkmania. Oh yeah, and for Christmas you will have it for Christmas. You get, when you said Christmas, I instantly thought of when you make the Chex Mix, especially you put the pretzels in for the Christmas holidays. I'm going back in my childhood based on advertisements I would see in magazines, and they would use the red sprinkles or the green sprinkles and put on top of the Chex Mix. It was pretty too for the holiday festive time. Did you guys do that too? That's what I saw in magazines around the holidays. As I continue, Rise of Hulkmania 1983 to 84. After purchasing the company from his father in 1982, Vincent K. McMahon had plans to expand the territory into a nationwide promotion, and he handpicked Hogan to be the company's showpiece attraction due to his charisma and name recognition. Hogan made his return at a television taping in St. Louis, Missouri on December 27, 1983, defeating Bill Dixon. On January 7th, 1984, episode of Championship Wrestling, Hogan confirmed his fan favorite status for any WWF fans unaware of his late 1981 babyface turn. The babyface turn in professional wrestling, a face babyface is a heroic good guy, good doer, or fan favorite wrestler, booked, scripted by the promotion with the aim of being cheered by fans. They are portrayed as heroes relative to the heel wrestlers who are analogous to villains, traditionally face. So, Hogan confirmed his fan favorite status for any WWF fans unaware of his late 1981 babyface turn by saving Bob Backlund from a three-way assault by the Wild Samoans. Hogan's turn was explained simply by Backlund. He's changed his ways. He's a great man. He told me he's not gonna have Lashley around. End quote. The storyline shortcut was necessary because less than 3 weeks later, on January 23rd, Hogan won his first WWF World Heavyweight Championship, pinning the Iron Sheik, who had Lashley in his corner, in Madison Square Garden. Back to the Madison Square, guys, where he first started it all as Hulk Hogan. He's back in Madison Square Garden, winning and dominating. The storyline accompanying the victory was that Hogan was a last-minute replacement for Sheik's original opponent, Bob Backlund, and became the champion by way of being the first man to escape the camel clutch, the Iron Sheik's finishing move. And you said you like the Chex part of Chex Mix. Of course. Of course. Because it is the Chex part of Chex Mix, the cereal. That's funny. I have to put a laughing emoji on that. Just a moment. Hang tight. Hang tight. I'm gonna put laughing on there. You said you like the Chex part of the Chex Mix cereal. Of course you do, because that is what comprises of the cereal. I'm gonna put LOL. Hang on a minute. I'm putting some laughing emojis on here. That's silly. A Chex Mix. The oh, Chex Mix. I had to take the time out to comment on that. That's funny. It is. Now, when you put the salt on your, when you're making like the Chex Mix and stuff like that and put it in the oven, do you use sea salt or do you use regular, table salt for yours? Their preferences, But nonetheless, there's like with the sidebar, you know, with the pretzels you get in the mall, they have those big old granulated chunks of salt, and then you can choose not to have salt, or you can use, if you want, regular table salt. There's even, you can set it up the way you want. So thanks for your input on that cereal. I'll tell you one thing for sure, these Fruit Loops are awesome. They make a great snack instead of reaching for chips all the time. And then while I'm on here, until I get to breakfast, because I usually I eat my breakfast after I get finished with these videos. But in the meantime, I have my cereal and my tea where I'm looking for. It's finally starting to cool off. I took a risk this morning, like 5 minutes into this video, because I made the tea too hot, so I had to let it cool down so I wouldn't hurt myself. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. He and Macho Man Randy Savage have reunited. The Madison and the Mania, the pillars of power. That's wonderful. I like that. It's like, I'm a little saddened that they're no longer with us, but I'm happy because, like I said, I'm coming on here and I'm rehashing the memories and how he impacted my life. Hulk Hogan was around for decades, and that's really cool. I like to say, just think, how would the world have been shaped? You and I wouldn't be talking here right now if he decided to stick with playing in his rock band. If he fully committed to his rock band, opposed to fully committing to wrestling, none of us would probably be in here talking right now. He would still probably hit Madison Square Garden, but it would have been on a whole nother thing. That's crazy. And it's cool. It's an impactful thing, guys. So, hi. I'm happy you're here. He's bringing people together in so many cool ways beyond just wrestling. My grandparents knew of him. My parents knew of him. I was born in '84, so I grew up with the guy, Then our son knew of Hulk Hogan. So he touched so many generations, not just one person. And he made the choice to commit to wrestling opposed to rock. So I like to apply this theory to us. You and I, when we decide to pick a career path that may be not the normal career path of what people want us to have or expect, it changes everything. And you change the course of the people who you meet, like how I'm meeting you guys. It's a wonderful thing. You have so much power with just choosing you, It's really cool. Making the choice to choose you and stick to your guns and work a job that you want will change everything. And that's what Hulk Hogan did. Continuing on in here, because I lost my place. I lost my place. Yeah, I lost my place. I had to put on my eyeglasses here and see where I'm using my old lady's voice and see where I'm at here. Let me see here. Alright, so the storyline accompanying the victory was that Hogan was the last minute replacement. That sounds like low-key hate to me. It's kind of like, whoa, Hulk Hogan was a last minute replacement. He wasn't even supposed to be here to fight. He wasn't even supposed to be here, so technically it doesn't count. I tell you, folks just find a way to just stick it into you when they're not happy. The storyline accompanying the victory was that Hogan was the last-minute replacement for Sheik's original opponent, Bob Backlund, and became the champion by way of being the first man to escape the camel clutch, known as the Iron Sheik's finishing move. Immediately after the title win, commentator Goooood Moooo-ning proclaimed, "Hulkmania is here. Hulkmania is here!" Hogan frequently referred to his fans as Hulkmaniacs. Not to be confused with the Animaniacs. Shouts out to Warner Brothers and the Animaniacs. Wacko Yakko and Dot. Hogan frequently referred to fans as Hulkmaniacs in his interviews and introduced his three commandments: training, saying prayers, and eating your vitamins. Didn't he endorse at one time the Flintstone Kids vitamins? I do recall that. I remember there was a time in my life where I did have to eat Flintstone vitamins. I think because I was so tiny. I was a runt. I'm not sure if I was supposed to be taller or not, but I stayed super, super, super short for a long, long time. And I remember Flintstone vitamins. Let's see here. The storyline. Immediately after that, Hogan frequently referred to his fans as Hulkmaniacs in his interviews and introduced three commandments: training, saying prayers, and eating vitamins. Eventually, a fourth commandment was established: believing in oneself. And that's the thing. That's why I really like to talk about this, because had he not, he's leading by example. I can say that far as the fourth commandment from Hulk Hogan, believing in yourself. That goes into how I was saying, had he not decided to put down the guitar and quit being in a rock band and fully committed to wrestling, you and I wouldn't be here talking about this. The world wouldn't have come to a temporary standstill to, talk about him. Do you think his kids would have turned out the same way? Or would have been a different type of makeup of children he would have had? Will he even have children at all if he continued being a rock star? One choice. So I like that beforehand he led by example first, especially the fourth commandment, believing in oneself, was added to his feud with Earthquake in 1990. Hogan's ring gear developed a characteristic yellow and red color scheme. His ring entrance involved him ritualistically ripping his shirt off his body, flexing, and listening for audience cheers in an exaggerated manner. Man, that's so cool. The majority of Hogan's matches during his time involved him wrestling heels who had been booked on Unstoppable Monsters. You guys, on here it says Unstoppable Monsters. Professional wrestling has accrued a considerable amount of jargon throughout its existence. Much of it stems from the industry's origins in the days past. Let's see here. In the days of carnivals and circuses. Yeah, in the past, professional wrestlers used such terms in the presence of fans as not to reveal the work nature of business. That's really nice. It's kind of like musicians at the time. They didn't want to reveal their secrets. So there was respectability politics in the realm and the respect of wrestling. Everyone isn't supposed to have insider information about the terms of the goings on of wrestling because it ruins the illusion and the funness of it. So I liked even back then they wanted to protect wrestling in that way, to not, kill the wrestling mania magic. That's really cool. So it says Hogan's ring gear developed a characteristic yellow and red color scheme. His ringing entrance involved ritualistically ripping his shirt off his body, flexing and listening for audience. He delivered steady offense but would eventually lose momentum, seemingly nearing defeat. Let me go backwards. Hang on. Potato backwards. Potato backwards. Will wrestling be as popular as it has become without Hulk Hogan? No. It would have been different again. That's why it's so important to do your best to do your best, because we won't make it all. We won't make the mark all the time. I've missed the mark on many times, but to follow your guts as far as career choice, because it's going to leave a lasting impact. So no, wrestling would not have been. It would have been different. A little deflating. Because he pretty much was the first here to pay the way to be so eccentric to me. Or to give the people who waited in the shadows or around the ring, metaphorically speaking, who wanted to do that but were too afraid. You know, sometimes there's a lot of people I've noticed who want to do a lot of things, but they are too scared to be the first ones out there because they don't want to experience the repercussion, the backlash, the stones being thrown at you. You don't want to be the first one out in the lines. I get it. So they wait for someone else to do it, and then everybody else comes out. So, no, wrestling would have been affected in that way too. So it's important for all of us to, you know, take a page out of Hulk Hogan's book to really try to be all you want to be in life, even though it seems really hard. You may not be able to do everything, but do something. Continue the fight because you impact the world, just like Hulk Hogan still is. So you do matter. It's really cool because, like I said, it's amazing. I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now, and I'm having a really good time eating my snacks and all of that. So yeah, thank you for asking that question. So Rhombus Rubus, will wrestling be as popular as it become without Hulk? Nah, it would hit totally different. Hey Iman, thanks for coming in. Gabriel Beck, long time no see. What's going on, Big Papa? I saw your comment. Hercules said hi. He saw the comment. Hercules right now is back home underwater. I chatted with him yesterday. Last time I saw him on video call, he was eating a large bowl of ramen noodles. And he said if you want him to come back, you had to put in the comments in the community tabs post and say you want him to come back. That's about all we could do. But thank you for tuning in here. It says here, I'm reading out of Wikipedia, right here, the majority of Hogan's matches during this time involved in wrestling heels who had been booked on unstoppable monsters, using a format which became near routine. He delivered steady offense but would eventually lose momentum, seemingly nearing defeat. After being hit with his opponent's finishing move, he got a sudden second win, fighting back while feeding off the energy of the audience, becoming impervious to attack, a process described as Hulk up, his signature maneuvers pointing at the opponent, later accompanied by a loud "you" from the audience, shaking his finger to scold them. 3 punches, an Irish whip, the big boot, and running leg drop followed, ensuring victory. Isn't it cool? It's like, as I read it, it took me back to seeing that really quickly. I didn't get the opportunity to see all of the wrestling matches because when we first started out, when I was really little, we didn't have access to like cable, and our TV was pretty shoddy. We actually grew up in the time where we did have 2 TVs. One was for sound and one was for video, and I don't think we got all the channels back then. And then we got cable later on in life, probably in 94, 95 is when we finally got cable in our home. And our TV was pretty much controlled on what we could and couldn't watch, so I wasn't able to, even if I did want to follow wrestling, I couldn't because my parents were pretty tough, so they pretty much controlled what we could and couldn't watch, and wrestling was kind of one of the things. So, but I heard about wrestling from updates because my god brother named Jarvis Choice, he used to come over in the morning. His mom would drop him off to our house so he could go to the schools, because at that time I think you had to live in the neighborhood and actually in order to go to that school. So his mom or his grandmother would drop him off every morning at our house, and we would walk to school. So usually in the morning, I would listen to him talk about wrestling while he ate breakfast, and I would try to retain all the information. There was a lot going on in the morning, trying to get ready for school and blah blah blah, but I would listen to him. And he brought in his wrestling toys sometimes, you know, to show off to his guy friends at school. So that's how I got informed about wrestling. And then when I got to school, you know, I would listen to the guys talk about wrestling. And even some of them, even though they were so cool, they brought their wrestling figurines in. Yes, figurines. You couldn't call them toys. The guys would bring in their wrestling figurines, and I would listen to them talk about wrestling that they saw the night before. So that's how I tried to keep up with wrestling at that time. So that's one of my stories in wrestling, how I tried to keep up with the stuff. In 1984, a marvelous year. Yes, 1984. I do say so myself. Similarities between Hogan's character and that of the Incredible Hulk led to a quiet claim deal between Titan Sports, Marvel Comics, and himself, wherein Marvel obtained trademarks Hulk Hogan, Hulks, and Hulkmania for 20 years, and Titan agreed to no longer refer to him as Incredible, nor simply Hulk, or ever dress him in purple or green. Marvel also subsequently received 0.9% of reportable gross merchandise revenues associated with Hogan, $100 for each of his matches, and 10% of Titan's portion of his other earnings under the name, or 10% of the earnings if Titan held no interest. This is crazy. This extended to WCW, whose parent company, Turner Broadcasting Systems, merged with Time Warner in 1996 and became sister companies with Marvel rival DC Comics. As Hogan was well underway with the NWO storyline under the Hollywood Hogan ring name at the time, this avoided Time Warner the awkward situation of paying Marvel the rights to the name while owning its chief rival. That's crazy. Yes, Hogan, no. Yes, you can do anything. Thank you for coming back. Yes, you can do anything. You guys are really feeling the motivation. Gabriel Beck, he said, I'm back with God on my side. I can do anything. That's very good. Keeping up the faith. Shouts out to Gabriel Beck. Welcome back. And thanks for giving us the words of encouragement. And Big Papa 312 hulking up. It sounds like that stuff you guys say before you go to the gym. That's like motivation right there. Girls, hulking up, we're going to the gym. Oh man. In a story in 1988's Marvel Comics Presents number 45, a wrestler resembling Hogan was tossed through an arena roof by the Incredible Hulk because he picked the wrong name. That's crazy. I'm going to scroll down here to see how much more is left, because it's funny that Wikipedia, I'm going to read the disclaimer that Wikipedia gave me yesterday when I started reading from here. It's in a yellow box and it says, this article may be too long to read and navigate comfortably. Consider splitting content into sub-articles, condensing it, or adding subheadings. I don't even think I reached half of this article, but I wanted to come back on to at least give this 2 parts because I like how it's been put together. It goes in order. It gives us a really good backdrop on Hulk Hogan, from him being born all the way to elementary to high school, preteen, high school, when he's decided to make first life-changing decisions to get us to where we are today. It's really neat. I'm still scrolling to get back to where I'm at. This is a lot of information. So let me scroll down towards the bottom here. This is a very, very, very long article. Something I will have to read in private, you know. But I wanted to get on here and share with you guys how he impacted, you know, my life. And he reached generations of people, 4 to 5 generations. So that's a pretty big impact. Do you know I'm still scrolling down to the bottom of this article? I'm trying to find like the last 2 paragraphs maybe. to kind of just summarize everything before I take off on here. So down here it says, in reference to Hulk Hogan, his religious beliefs, I'm surprised they shared that. I know he's a public figure. You know, when they say we were taught in high school, when you're a public figure, you don't belong to yourself. Now that's kind of creepy, you know, but that's what we were taught in high school and some small courses in college, the little college that I had. Religious beliefs for Hulk Hogan. Hogan was public about his faith in Christ. In 2007, Hogan said, "I've learned my own religion. I was saved when I was 14. I accepted Christ as my Savior. He died on the cross to pay for my sins. I could have went the wrong way. I could have self-destructed, but I took the high road." That's what the words from Hulk Hogan. Reading it out loud hits differently now that he's no longer with us, you know. On December 20th, 2023, Hogan and his wife, Sky Daly, were baptized in Indiana Rocks Baptist Church in Largo, Florida, back to where they started. In a 2024 interview on the 700 Club, he described baptism as a transformative event, saying he felt all new, end quote, and recognizing it as a major pivot in his spiritual life. That's awesome. Hulk Hogan, Rhombus Rubens said Hulk Hogan leg dropped his opponent so hard the Berlin Wall fell down. That's right. Drop, boom. I gotta put some crying emojis on that. That's crazy. I'm typing something. That is funny. You guys remember those really cool toys you could get? They were like the wrestling bodies and stuff. They were plushies, but they were the actual wrestlers. I wanted a couple of those, man. Because they're really cool. But now that I'm an adult, I can buy them now. I have at least one or two of them, you know. They're really cool toys to have. So in here they have health problems, and then, you know, a little paragraph of his passing away. Hogan passed away from cardiac arrest in his home in Clearwater, Florida, so he went back home to Florida. And on July 24, 2025, at the age of 71. 71 is still young, because we're actually supposed to be living longer. 71 is pretty darn young to me. He is survived by his wife Sky Daly and children Brooke and Nick. His death came a month after he underwent a major spinal fusion surgery. His wife Sky denied reports that it was part of a more serious health-related issue. In an interview with People, Hogan's friend Jimmy Hart stated that Hogan's health took a sudden turn overnight. Hart met with Hogan regularly until Hogan's June 2025 neck surgery and stayed in contact. Hart said that Hogan did not have friends visit him in person at either the hospital or at his home, as he was recovering from the surgery, with Hogan wanting to make sure that he didn't get any infections or anything else, like if anybody had a cold or brought anything in. So, awards and honors. Hogan was honored as the 2008 King of the Crew of Bacchus, a New Orleans carnival organization. Hogan visited the Children's Hospital of New Orleans, enrolled in the parade where he threw doubloons with his likeness. Hogan received the honor in part because meeting Hogan was one of the most requested wishes of the terminally ill children benefited by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's a really great way to close right there in reference to Hulk Hogan, you know, helping the kids at the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He said doing the leg drop really messed up his neck. He went from being Yeah, man, that stuff is bad. What do you think now? Thinking now, with Hulk Hogan back then, like you said, Rhombus doing the leg drop, and how I know that brought so much cervical spine damage. Compare that to the football of that time. It was horrendous. I mean, they hit hard, they hit heavy in football. It was like, oh man. So what do you think was worse comparing football and wrestling at that time? Which was worse, football or wrestling? I'm actually thinking about it right now, because when my grandfather watched football, man, I would just hear those helmets crashing against one another, and it sound awful. It sound like, the battering of the Rams in real life, man. It's crazy. The impact, man. They took some heavy hits. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body. So yeah, I can imagine, feeling it down the road. He had to go through various surgeries to have that stuff fixed. That's crazy. But I can say, I don't think, since he was one of the first to lead the path, sometimes, sitting in the front lines of doing something legendary, you're going to also be the guinea pig for what to expect, so people can course correct and auto correct in the future. Sometimes we don't fully think about everything in that aspect down the road, because I'm quite sure if Hulk Hogan was fully aware of the wear and tear and all the science, sports science of it all, and how it would impact him, I'm not sure if he would have taken that road. You think he would have stayed in the realm of just being a rock star? Had he really known the impact of what it will put a toll on him at the end? Would any of the football players have done it? But let's just say, speaking in reference to Hulk Hogan, he paved the way. When you're in the front line of doing anything innovative in any field, you just cannot foresight the end. But leading the way has led the sports medicine science people to be a little bit more careful on how people drop, how people fall. They're making them fully aware of the impact of how this stuff, be it in football and wrestling, can impact your health in the future, in your golden years. People are more able to take a more healthy, conscious choice when wanting to make these decisions now, be it pro wrestling, football, or anything. And had it not been for Hulk Hogan paving the way, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been possible. Comes with being in the front line of anything, leading the way. There's no roadmap. So that's what I've taken out of the legacy of Hulk Hogan. He was around with my granddad. He was around with my mom and dad, me, and now our son. That's 4 generations from myself. And some of you are already grandparents, so that's 5 generations he's touched and impacted by one decision. So if you're weighing the good with the bad, if Hulk Hogan allegedly made some mistakes down the road, there's a lot of good that outweighs all of that. So you guys, my advice on this is to keep moving forward, to keep going. What I took out of Hulk Hogan's life is you have to be yourself. And that was his 4th demandment. And he led by example by way of that. He led by example by choosing himself and taking a career choice that at the time probably was like, man, you crazy for doing it. And he stuck it out. So his 4th demandment was to be true to yourself. He did that. So I encourage you to honor the 4th demandment of Hulk Hogan, is to be true to yourself, because had he not done that and stuck to committed to wrestling, none of us will be in here hanging out talking today. And so that's pretty cool. What do you guys think about Hulk Hogan? That's a wrap on that. I want to come back on here and tie up loose ends. I talked about the video. Yes, I talked about this yesterday on the video, and it was fun. I'm just going to spend some time in private to finish the rest of the stuff I skipped over, because it is a lot. So depending on the wrestler style, at least football players have padding somewhat. They did have padding. You're right about that. Football players did have padding at the time. That's for sure. Wrestlers had nothing. That's a very good point. Wow. Man, I had to be quiet on that for a minute. That's a very valid point. I'm gonna pick up my handy dandy keyboard really quickly, because I'm gonna put something in here. Wow. Let me put RH. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. There you go. That's a very good point. My friends say I should have been a wrestler and that I look like a lot like the wrestler Big Show. Well, you still can be. There's ways around that now with social media, depending on your age, you know. Life likes to, you're welcome. You still can be that. Life likes to put limitations on us to keep us from doing the things we want. As long as you're alive, there's still time. Now is the time to use your creative bag. You still can be that wrestler. We have the miracles of YouTube. Look, I'm in a cow suit, man. And I'm on here chatting with some of the coolest people on the planet, right? And I'm having a really good time. So I don't know where you are in life or your age, but you still can be that wrestler. Sometimes the best thing is to think really big so you can reel it back in to see how you can fit that into your life currently. You can start by drawing out how you want to look as a wrestler. You can start by just getting into the realm of starting a YouTube channel, pretending you are a wrestler now. My life as a wrestler. If I were to watch the Hulk Hogan match, this is how I would have done this, and this as a wrestler. All I can say is use your creative genius that we all have to figure out how you still can tie in the things you want to do. They may not be exactly what you want, but you'll be doing yourself a favor and your family and friends around you a favor by finding ways to be true to you. Rule number 4 from Hulk Hogan. So thank you for that piece of advice. It is never too late. As long as you have life in your body, you can still do the things you want. You just have to get creative and figure out how to fit it right now into your life to make that possible. Take small steps like Hulk Hogan, and they'll lead to momentous results in the end. He took small steps. So my name is LA, pronounced like LA like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm Breezy. Thank you guys for coming in. It is 6:40 a.m. here on July 31st, 2025. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And happy August 1st, early. Rather be early than not late. I want to thank you guys for listening to my playlist. I have tons of playlists now. Thanks for the replay game for coming in. Thank you for helping contribute to the watch time, because it just really helps, because you guys don't have to. Is there anything else you guys want to mention before I get out of here? See, that's perfect. That's the great way to start. I have videos on my channel where I play the WWE games as myself if I were a wrestler. So you see, that's great. You're still fighting for that. You haven't given up on yourself, because you're showing this world, you're showing life like, hey, I haven't forgot what I want. I haven't forgotten my dream. You're not going to take that away from me. You showing up on here playing the wrestling video game as yourself, as that character, is doing this to life. Like, you can't stop me. Now, if you want to make that bigger, now that you're doing that, how can you magnify that if you want to go bigger? Now you've already got your arena set up. You already have your platform. Do you want to start showing up in your costume like Nacho Libre? How do you want this to go? It's up to you, but you can do that now. Make a story about yourself, talk about your day in the life of wrestling. You can write a quick book. It could be a pamphlet, it could be a leaflet, but it's something that you made to talk about how wrestling impacted your life. There's so many ways you can do this. Just remember that. Congratulations for making that epic choice to stand up for you and what you like. And once again, you guys, if you're interested in following his channel, he covers wrestling, and he is doing the Incredible Hulk Demandment number 4. Be true to yourself. My name is LA, pronounced like LA, like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm Breezy. Thank you guys so much for coming in, liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. I had a really good time. If you're on here, you know you're at the right place at the right time. We are all champions. Don't let this world tell you nothing else. See y'all next video. Bye-bye.